Episode 10. That's 10 in Spanish.
Okay.
He is the wind, she is the wave, and together they make up the band they call the wind and the wave. They're not related, they're best buds, they're BFFs for life, hashtag BBIT dubs. It's the Dwight and Patty Show. The Dwight and Patty Show. It's the Dwight and Patty Show.
It's Dwight.
And Patty.
Hey, welcome to episode 10 of the Dwight and Patty Show podcast, presented by the Wind and the Wave. Hello, Patty. How are you?
Hi. I have a new favorite thing I'd like to tell you about.
Okay, go.
I got a really nice camping hammock. I don't know if it's a hammock, but from REI like 4 years ago, maybe more than that, for my husband's birthday, and we just set it up in our backyard for the first time ever. It's just been like in storage, never used it. It's set up in our backyard now, and it's my new favorite thing. The weather has been so nice in the mornings and the evenings, and the mosquitoes aren't too bad yet, and it's so nice. I actually fell asleep in it yesterday evening with my husband. We can both get in there. Actually, both of us can get in there, and the dog and Trip.
Wow.
We can all three get in there. It's not great when Trip's in there. It's really nice. I feel like I'm being cradled like a baby.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. So as you know, I had a rough weekend. My father is at the end of his time on this plane. I'll say that with 95% certainty.
Yeah, I feel like it feels like he's been sort of at the end for a while, though.
Yeah. So my sister, it's hard to say who this is for, actually, because, he's going to be passed away. So, but she set up some photos.
Right.
With the whole family and him. And those that don't know, my father was, he's basically Forrest Gump, but at one point, without being slow, he's the whippest smart person that I've ever met. I think it was part of his problem. He's too damn smart. But he ran track at the University of Houston. I mean, at a world-class level, 800 meter, and I think the 1500 as well. And I think he even ran the 400 some. But at the University of Houston, where he later became a law professor as well, when he was done kind of doing business deals. Actually, even between that, he was always a professor, was an adjunct when you're kind of not always there, but he's been a law professor for a lot of years at University of Houston. It's a school. When you came from his background, which was really poor and probably a lot of people were doing crime, my dad was super smart, and his mom kind of shook him as the woman who raised him shook him and just said, you need to go to college. You can run, and he figured that out, and he ran, and that was in between the Vietnam War and everything. And anyway, so that school is very special to him because it helped him kind of figure his life out and get everything together. And running has always been very important to him, and which is why the way he's been stuck in a bed in a wheelchair for the last 4 years has been so devastating for him, because he ran marathons up until I think months before he had the brain thing that caused the stroke. And this is a very long-winded way to get to what I want to talk about.
You take your time.
So my sister set up photos at the University of Houston football field, which was really cool. He's been a football booster for a long time. And so we went out on the field and took photos. And we didn't break any COVID things. Everyone, was separate, but except for my dad,
photos where people were separate.
Well, we were kind of standing apart, but except for my dad, who, was like, fuck, give me COVID. I don't give a shit. Like, let me go, But as we were leaving the stadium, he had a good friend that hooked us up with a woman we've known for a long time named Katina Jackson, and her husband, who's a big surgeon in Houston. And we appreciate for them for that. I think she's the AD or woman's AD, maybe even at University of Houston now. Anyway, as we're leaving, my father said, and I did fine. You know, when it's one thing to think it might be the last time you see your dad, or you're just not sure. You know, I'm going to go back down Friday and we'll figure it out. You know, but it's one thing to think that. It's another thing, you know, a lot of us have weird relationships, you know, because of life and things. But
You mean with our parents?
yeah,
Yeah.
or each other, our siblings, whatever.
Yeah.
And but it was nice to see everybody, and it was nice to see everyone try their best, you know. So anyway, I didn't feel much emotion other than because I've been, you know, you kind of mentally prepare as this has been coming and just kind of deal with it, you know. And I didn't feel emotion until as we're leaving, he says to Katina, and it's hard to understand my dad right now too because he just can barely speak. And he goes, I want Leroy Burrell's number. That's how he kind of sounds now. And Leroy Burrell is the track coach at the University of Houston now, and has been for 22 years. He's a very successful track coach, and I looked. He also was a gold medal winner with Carl Lewis in 1992 at the Barcelona Olympics in the 4x100.
Damn.
Gold medal winner twice in the World Championships in the 4x100. Gold medal winner in the Goodwill Games in the 100. Silver in the World Cup of track. Like, very accomplished runner. And I didn't know much about him. I met him once or twice with my dad back in the day, but I haven't seen him for a long time. And I was thinking, like, why does my dad want to talk to Leroy Burrell? I knew he was a track supporter, obviously, because of connection to track and everything like that. So he says to Katina, I want her number. And Katina just goes, well, let me just call him and see where he is. And it turned out he was a block away from the stadium in his car.
Okay.
Which makes you think some weird shit, you know, especially for non-believers like me. It's like, whoa, that was really touching that he was near, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes over and he gets out of the truck, and I walk over to him, and there's an old lady in the truck too. And I say, hey, Leroy, it's Dwight. He goes, yeah, you know, we sort of remembered each other. And I said, he's over here in the truck because my dad was already sitting down. And he goes over to my dad and he says, he first off, you can just, you know, when you see someone and they're just a gentle, sweet soul, that was this guy. 100% sweetness emanate, like Eric, like just sweetness emanating from his person.
Just a soft person.
And he comes over and he leans down into my dad and he's talking really quietly, but I'm leaning on the door so I can hear it. I don't know why maybe I shouldn't even been listening, but he's leaning down there and he goes, he says, Mike, I remember that. He goes, I'm going to tell you a story. And my dad goes, oh, okay. And he goes, hey, Leroy, it's so good to see you, or whatever. And he says, you know, when I first was a track coach here, you were the first person I met on campus. You came down from the law department and said, welcome to U of H. If anything you need, I can help you. And he goes, and I was a young man then. It's my first big coaching gig. And he goes, and that meant a lot to me. He goes, and you've been there whenever I needed you on a business level or on any level, my whole career, my life. And then I started to get a little teary because it's weird to meet people that knew your father in a way that you don't know him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. That you, in a way that you'll never know him, really.
This guy truly respected my father. 100%. No question. So then he says, I'm gonna try not to lose it. He says it's an honor to be able to say goodbye to you. I'm confident that God put me here today.
Mm.
And I just, as a non-believer, it just crushed me because of how much he meant that statement. Do you know what I mean?
You can tell. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what I believe. He was put there for a reason, in his opinion, and mine too, frankly. And so then he goes, and you have to know that my dad is also a non-believer. But it's interesting how those perspectives change as you near
Yeah.
being not here anymore. And Leroy says, well, can I pray over you? And I just lost it. I lost it totally. And he grabbed his hand and he said a long, very quiet prayer that I couldn't hear. And then he said, it's an honor to know you. And he stepped up and he backed off. And I was so emotional. And then my father, this is the most Mike Baker thing that has ever been said in the world, says, hey, Leroy. And Leroy goes, what? And he goes, lose some weight.
Great.
And Leroy almost fell on the ground. He goes, that stings a little bit, Mike. That stings a little bit. That is the most my dad story that I'll probably ever have, is that one, right? And anyone who listens who knew him just got a big kick out of that, because that's exactly what he would do.
The story up until that part, though, is very moving. Just hearing you recount it.
I was moved.
Yeah.
I was moved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to DM him and tell him what that moment meant to me, because it very special, you know?
I'm sure it meant a lot to your dad too.
I would just say this. Oftentimes, your perception of a relationship is only from your lens, or your perception, not even that, your
Of the
perception
person.
of a person is
Right.
from your lens. A lot of other people's lenses may show that person in a completely different way.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a parent, you often think your child is like spoiled or out of control or this, that, and the other. And then you talk to another parent, they'll be like, oh, I love Evan. He's such a sweet kid. What a great kid. And you just think, maybe he shows them a whole different thing. And of course he does.
Yeah, of course.
You know, of course he does, because we all do that. So it was just nice to know, because I only know my dad the way I know my dad.
And you
It's
only
nice
can.
Right. And it's nice but it was almost like a voyeuristic way for me to see his relationship with regular people in his life. And I know how much he has meant to a lot of men, especially in his life. Guy's guy, you know, and very giving to a fault, and, you know, to his own detriment often. But it's another, you know, it's one thing to know how I would meet his friends all the time. They'd be like, oh, I love your dad. Your dad's so awesome. You know, oh, he talks about you all the time. And I'd be like, what? Who? My dad?
We're talking about the same person? Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me
person.
It reminds me of a couple episodes ago when you said that your mom said it was really cool to watch the Missio documentary and to see you in a professional setting, you know, being a real person, not just being her baby boy, you know.
Yeah, she said it's a whole new you I get to meet.
Yeah.
It's really, and she told me that, you know, I saw her, you know, from 6 feet apart yesterday.
Oh, she was there too.
If I can't go to Houston and not stop by and see her in her backyard.
Okay, but she wasn't part of the pictures thing?
No, I mean, she was the first wife of many. And
Yeah.
I don't think it felt right for her. I don't think he would have cared, you know. But, you know, that's the weirdness of the tangled web we lead, right?
Mm-hmm. Has your mom talked to your dad at all through this whole difficult stuff with you?
I think one time.
Yeah.
And I think he and my stepfather were really good friends for a long time and had a falling out. But I think they even had a moment. I think they went by the hospital the
Mm-hmm.
last time he was in, and it certainly didn't fix anything, but it maybe gave them both a little closure.
Yeah. I mean,
You
at
know,
this point, there's not really a whole lot to fix. Like what's done is done. It's just,
that's
yeah,
that's where I'm
yeah,
at.
yeah.
I try not to be mad or judgmental of anything anymore with him. I definitely am still judgmental with him because it doesn't mean I don't get mad, but because
Because what does it
what a
do for
difficult,
anyone?
yeah, and what a difficult decision he's having to make now. Like, okay, I really know I'm not going to get better
Mm-hmm.
ever, and I can just turn it off right here and stop taking this tube-driven food and go away. That's a tough.
I can't even imagine. I mean, even in my darkest moments.
And that's why I say 95% because right at the end, I'm assuming he could go order me more food.
Hmm.
I don't want to do this. You know, you got to make those decisions yourself. And it's like quitting alcohol. Until you're ready, you're just not ready.
It's got to be really, really difficult for everyone around him that loves him too.
Dude, this has been,
Just to be on that roller coaster.
in a weird way, I've been as successful as I've ever been in the last 4 years. I mean, really in the last 10, but in the last 4 years specifically. And so as my wife, and in the middle of all that, there's this black cloud hanging over me that makes me not the kindest person, and that doesn't feel good. And so the party is like, okay, can this be over? So maybe I can not have that hanging over me. But also, it's like feels very selfish to say that too. By the way, so piece of shit right here. So
Feelings.
yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to share that story because I know specifically because I talked to some people on the Feelings Club tour that other people are losing fathers and mothers right now, and we know that that's happening just from the COVID thing, and so I wanted to share just like a moment, especially for those of you that may have questionable thoughts about your parents, as or how you feel about them or whatever. Know that, and not in all cases, I'm sure there's pieces of shit that are just pieces of shit. But in a lot of cases, sometimes the person, and I'm not calling my dad a piece of shit by any stretch, but I'm saying sometimes the man is not the man that everybody else knows.
Right.
My
My mom was here for a couple days a few days ago, and it was nice to have her. But like you said, like just relationships and family can be interesting. Like there were a lot of little things that about her that like trigger me in little ways that just like I see myself in them, which is probably the most frustrating, you know?
Yeah.
Like her, like she doesn't allow herself to make mistakes without like really, really beating herself up. And I'm just like that in my head. It's difficult.
Yeah. I had that thought last night on the drive home from Houston. I thought, I wonder if that's why I try to be the same person to everybody. Subconsciously. Because I do. I don't really hide. Like, I've been an asshole to everybody, and I've been very generous and very nice to everybody. I just kind of be what I am in the moment, and a little off color, and curse too much, and all the things that come along with me. I just try to do that to everybody. I don't try to pick favorites or age gaps, or you know what I mean. I wonder if there's something there. Like I try to be incredibly authentic at the very least because I don't want to have people know me in different ways. I wanted everyone to kind of be like, "Oh, Dwight, yeah, I get it,
Sounds like
totally,
Dwight.
right, yeah."
Yeah. It is nice to see you in a little bit more of a vulnerable place. I know that you don't love it, but
Note this. That will be the last time you see it. Count yourself lucky. That's it. Back to horror. Here it goes. Watch it. Watch the transformation. Here's vulnerable.
and walls up. Walls up. Dwight up.
Yeah. So now I'm back. I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, weird weekend. And I guess I'll keep you updated because now you're in on it. So, you know,
Yeah, you should.
I mean, not you. You are obviously not. I'm saying
The peeps.
the peeps are they're in on it. So I'll let you know how it goes.
We should do an episode on grief and loss.
Well, you can do that
on the Feelings Club. Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. But also, Sally and I decided the first episode of the Feelings Club is going to come out this Friday, which I guess by the time you listen to this episode will be tomorrow.
By the time you listen to this episode? No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, you're right. What day is it?
Yeah,
You're correct.
I'm right.
Let me do an email or two. You ready?
Yeah.
Mike Fern. Hey, guys. Hope you and your families are all safe and well. Firstly, Dwight. 1, the world needs you. You have the power to make people feel better with your sense of humor and make a lot of sense with your words in the first 4 podcasts of season 2. That's nice to hear right now. 2, feel like if we ever had a conversation, we could talk for hours. Nice to hear. 3, thank you for doing the world a favor by merely existing. Love you, Mike Fern. I'd make out with you right now if it wasn't such a bad disease.
Where's
Otherwise,
the sneaky Patty? Where's the sneaky Patty compliment?
Oh, it's coming. Patty, just perfect as always. Great songwriter, fantastic singer. Saying goddamn thing every damn time. You know? I think they don't want to upset Kevin. I think it's mostly what's going on. You know, they don't want to make Kevin, you know, your big muscular husband. They don't want to get their ass kicked by a big muscular Kev.
So they're just sticking to good lyrics, good singer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, instead of being like,
I'd tap that ass instead of saying like that.
Or you're so beautiful and your spirits is so, and also can I see in your underwear, you know, or whatever they were going to say.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So finally got home after 9 weeks overseas. Sorry, I missed the Aberdeen show, but heard it rocked like I expected. And when we've previously seen the last 4 times, I guess Aberdeen, Scotland. So caught up with all the podcasts of season 2, and now I'm home. I've had access to the key sessions you did. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm. BBC Scotland
sessions. Yeah, BBC Scotland you did. With all the madness going on, listening to those recordings seemed to settle everything a bit, especially being back home with the family. Is it possible of those recordings being released, maybe to Patreon? Plus, you play 2 of my faves every other Sunday morning in the Redhead in Aberdeen. BBC owns those.
Yeah.
In conjunction with us. And getting permission for anything from these folks is damn near impossible. I would suggest, without suggesting it, that you find an illegal download software and just download the audio from that stream. Okay, but I didn't say that. In season 1, I asked about a live EP from your previous shows with Kelly Jones. You talked about this in potential in episode 3. Is it still a possibility? We know that Kelly is probably doing some sort of live record with Stereophonics, and we did do that cover a few times with Stereophonics. So, you know, maybe that'll end up on there. I don't know. It's hard to say. As far as a live record from us, yes, I have. I'm almost done mixing a live record from us from the arena tour in Europe, but I have to get permission from Sony and Universal for a lot of those tunes, and I don't know how that's going to go. So it may just be for patrons. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'd like to put it up for everyone to hear because they're fun shows, and it actually sounds pretty good. So, but will Sony and Island say yes? Will RCA and Silent Island say yes? Don't know.
Will they even respond?
Can you contact them during COVID? Don't know. main question. You've done a couple of albums in the last year, KJ Collab and Wind and Wave 4. Well, we're starting Wind and Wave 4, but yeah, where the whole writing process is completely different, especially where you can't get in the same room bouncing ideas off of each other. How has this challenged the process from being in the same room to being apart and discussing writing over Zoom, etc.? Has this made you think differently about future approach to future albums? And says, Owen played your albums while offshore, and you have lots of fans in Australia and Singapore now. So thank you, Mike Fern, for reaching out. Up until actually right after this podcast, Patty and I have not written on Zoom yet. We're doing that today. Most of the songs we've already worked on, which is 4 that are on their way to being done or done in terms of being written and demoed, is we wrote in the UK together. So we're going to try that today. I don't imagine it'll be too bad, because generally the way we do it is I present an idea. Patty's either inspired by it or she's not. She starts writing some shit. We talk about some things. I do a quick recording for her, and then she works on it on her own for a while. And then we meet up and talk about it again. So I don't think it's going to be
change
weird.
all that much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird that the interruption factor on Zoom is weird, and you know what I mean. You think someone, or you talk over people in a way that you wouldn't do it face to face. It's just weird how that works. I don't. Can you? Don't you feel like that too? It's weird to not interrupt somebody on this. You know.
Well, to have it be conversational.
Yeah.
You kind of have to a little bit.
Totally. So I'm excited about it because I have a bunch of new ones that sound nothing like anything we've done before, truthfully.
That excites me.
Yeah, and I don't know how to even present them in the way that I'm on this current tip for the record we're on, but I'm going to figure it out, because this is a more guitar record. This is a guitar record. That's what it's kind of becoming. If you noticed, right? It's a guitar record.
Is that because that's what you have access to in your Cludio? Is it because of the limitations?
It's possible. You know me, I'll always have piano and keys and stuff, but everything is starting like with a guitar riff or a guitar part. And there's guitar solos in 2 of the songs, or all three. Three of the 4 have a guitar solo. And that's just kind of where I'm at. And
I think you're enjoying playing guitar.
I'm enjoying playing all the instruments, because I'm even playing bass and everything on this stuff. I like playing them all. I think I could beat them with a band, but I am enjoying. And if we don't get out of lockdown, I'm going to just do them all for real in the real studio. But we'll have to see. I don't know. That's the one thing I haven't decided yet. I had thought I knew how I wanted to do that record, and I may not know. Maybe I'll do it with some different drummers that I like, and then some different bass players that I like, and then me playing the rest with some extra keys.
I'd like to introduce you to my new next door neighbor.
Why?
Because he's a drummer.
Oh, okay.
He plays for Rufas, Wainwright.
Oh, cool.
And some other girl, I can't remember her name, Bird. I can't remember. He's cool. I like him and his lady.
Bird and Bee or whatever it is.
No, it's like just one girl. I forget her name. Bird is in her name. I can't exactly remember. Okay. But he was in the UK the same time we were, or in Europe the same time we were. He had to come home early too.
With Rufus?
No, with the Bird girl. I can't remember her name right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, so we'll see how the writing goes, but I'm excited to get it recorded. I'm excited to put out new music.
Yeah, same. I wanted to say, because I don't think I've said this on the podcast yet, but I got a sync for a song that I did outside of the Wind and the Wave.
Yep.
When I went to Nashville, I wrote a song with Erin, McCarley, and Konrad Snyder in Nashville, and it was called Fight to Feel Alive, and it was on this show called Station 19. It's an
Yep.
ABC show, which I don't watch anything on ABC, but apparently my
Yeah,
mother-in-law watches that show regularly, and she was really excited about it.
Very cool.
So that was a cool thing that happened to me.
Yeah, and that's a nice check too. It's always, again, in these times, boy, any little money kick in, mailbox money especially, is a like, whoa, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's 30 minutes. Why don't you take us out?
Okay. Leave us a review, you guys, wherever you listen to this podcast. That would be very helpful. Please also send us an email to the Dwight and Patty Show at gmail.com. You can consider becoming one of our monthly supporters on Patreon. It's patreon.com/the Dwight and Patty Show. And we have 4 levels of support there. You can be a Dwight, you can be a Patty, you can be a Superbot, or a high roller. Things like access to personal updates from Dwight and Patty for their patron-only community, a shout out from us on the podcast, an unreleased acoustic iPhone demo, early listens to brand new demos by us when available. And there's several up there right now that if you become a patron today, you get everything that's up there. Early listens to final versions of our new songs and videos, an iPhone acoustic video of us performing any song that you like, especially for you. And you also get a discount code for the merchandise on the online store, thewindandthewave.com/shop. So there's that. And the next time we do our live stream concert will be Saturday, May 23rd, and you will get free access to that as well. Follow us on Instagram at The Dwight and Patty Show. You can now watch this podcast on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV, and give us a like on those things as well. Be really helpful. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. Bye.
It's the Dwight and Patty Show.